I'm Nigel A. James. This morning I'm in Torington, a little village in England, and I'm speaking to Vanessa Ferry. Good morning, Vanessa.
Good morning, Nigel. May I correct you? Torrington is a town.
What is,
We have a town council and a mayor. It's not a village.
when does a village stop being a village and becomes a town?
When it has a charter and is granted a mayor.
Oh, really? So you have a mayor of
Yes,
Torrington, the mayor of
yes.
Torrington. It sounds like a good book, doesn't it? The Mayor of Torrington. Or
Uh, Maybe.
Vanessa, tell us very briefly, what is living in Torrington like?
Well, it is in Devon, in the countryside, in North Devon. It's a quiet area, and the town has about 5,000 people, so it's not very big. We have all the shops we need within walking distance of our house. We have all the facilities like a doctor and library, very important. And it is very, very friendly.
Very, very friendly. Can I just stick on that just for a second? Because I understand many, many years ago you lived in London. What's the biggest difference? And you lived and worked in London, I believe, many years ago. Um, when you first moved to Torrington, was it the friendliness of the people that you noticed to begin with more than anything else?
Yes, because we moved here because of my husband's business. So we got to know quite a lot of people quite quickly because he was in retail. And yes, everybody has been very helpful. Torrington apparently is one of the places with the highest number of volunteers in the country.
Volunteers for what?
Anything, charities, anything that needs helping. Lots of people volunteer for everything. We have charity shops. The library is now run by volunteers. Um, just everything, really. There are lots and lots of societies. We have all the children's societies, like guides and scouts and brownies, and there's cadets, army cadets, and these things are all run by volunteers.
Okay, so charity does begin at home.
Yes.
What sort of jobs are there in Torrington for all of these 5,000 people, or not 5,000 people, but well, tell us about this jobs and
Jobs not so good here now. There used to be a big dairy and an abattoir on opposite sides down in the valleys. There is a glassworks, Dartington Crystal Glassworks, but they don't employ many people now. So jobs, I think a lot of people go to Barnstable, and that's now 12 miles away.
you said,
Um,
Vanessa, Barnstable is now 12 miles away. Was it always something different? Did they
no,
move
it's
it?
always been 12 miles. Sorry. Yeah, means they now have to go 12 miles away. Sorry.
It's fine.
I beg your pardon. It hasn't moved. It has got bigger, so it might be slightly nearer.
Okay. And Torrington also is now called Great Torrington, you said. So maybe Torrington's moved nearer too.
No, Torrington has always been Great Torrington. We have a book written, oh, hundreds of years it goes back. It's always been Great Torrington. There is a village just outside called Little Torrington.
Really?
And there is a place also called Black Torrington.
Black as in the colour.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Black Torrington. Did everybody die or did they have the Black Death?
No,
Tell us.
I don't know. I don't know. It's nearer. It's near a place called Hatherley. It must be 20 miles away, I suppose. So I don't know much about Black Torrington. I've only been there a few times.
Is there anything special to see there?
No, well, not that I saw.
Okay,
There might be, so I don't want to upset anybody. There might be something special there.
because I'm sure everybody there is listening to this.
I'm sure there are, yes. But you never know how it gets back, do you?
No, tell us about the other side of Torrington. You mentioned all these charities, volunteers, but what about entertainment and good fun? What about theatre clubs, these kind of things?
Right. We have our own arts centre in Torington called The Plough, and that has been going for 30, 40 years. Oh, no, 40, 50 years perhaps, because we've been here now 39 years. And they have a cinema, they have live theatre, they have a cafe all the time, they have galleries where they have exhibitions of paintings and things. And in 2001, I had an exhibition of my rugs there. So they do big exhibitions as well, big ones. And they have all sorts of, they run classes for children and for adults, craft classes and things like that, workshops. Michael went to a singing workshop with Chloe Dankhurst. Not Chloe Dankhurst, yes. So, yes, they have famous musicians here. We went to see Albert Lee at the Plough last week, and he's very famous,
Tell
very
us,
famous guitarist.
a very, very famous guitarist. I think he's quite old now, isn't he?
He's 80 this year,
Well,
and
that's
he still sounds as good as ever. We've seen him lots of times.
okay.
So we have that. We have our town hall has now been repurposed as a community centre, and they hold all sorts of things there. They hold balls and dinners, and sometimes plays are put on, and they run all sorts of things there. So we have lots, and we have also another community centre in what was an old hotel, and there's a hall there that you can rent, and people can put on exhibitions and things. And
Vanessa,
we have about 5 cafes, lots of cafes at the moment, so we're quite thriving, really.
you didn't mention the pub. Is there a pub?
Oh, the pub. The pub in the town centre is the Black Horse, and that has been closed for over 2 years
Oh,
because with COVID they had to close, of course, and the landlord wanted at the same time to put the rent up, which didn't go down too well with the licensee, and so they left. Unfortunately, the owner lived in London, and he expected London prices in a small Devon town. It doesn't work.
how very unfortunate. So a town with no pub. That's terrible.
No, it has opened now. It's opened at Mayfair this year because we have our annual Mayfair on the first Thursday every May. And it is fantastic. The whole town closes. We have dancing in the streets. We have maypoles for the school children do it. My grandson James was in the maypole dancing. Not that
Brilliant.
he wanted to be, but all the children have to be. And the whole town closes all day. There's all sorts of festivities because we are lucky to have a silver band in the town. Makes all the difference to everything you do because everything has music,
How fantastic.
live music. It is fantastic. So we do that, but the pub opened again on that day. There are other pubs. There were a lot when we got here, but most of them have closed for one reason or another.
But
So there's only a couple of others now.
so the pub is going to stay open forever and ever.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yes. Apparently, the man who's in it now has another pub in Weston-super-Mare. So he knows what he's doing. So we hope he will keep it going, yes.
I'm sure the regulars, the people who go there all the time, know what they're doing as well. Um,
Yes, drinking.
yeah, but isn't the pub a centre of life somehow in Torrington?
Well, it is a very old Elizabethan pub, and it was there when they had the Battle of Torrington in 1642, because one of the generals went there. Fairfax, I think, was there. So it is right bang in the centre, and it's a listed building, so you can't do anything else with it. And it's really lovely, an old Elizabethan pub, so it needs to be open.
Can you tell us the name of it again?
The Black Horse.
The Black Horse. Fantastic. Vanessa, you mentioned music. This May
Yes,
festival full of music. Does that mean many people in Torrington are musicians, hobby-wise or anything else?
I think so, yes, because in our street alone, we have the band rooms because the band rooms are in a converted church. So we have the band rooms. You have been to our street. It's a very small street, Castle Street, and we have lots of people living there now who are musicians. And two of them organised the street parties for the coronation. And we have somebody who runs the Devon music for all the schools living in this. We have, when we have our street parties, which are a new thing for us, we have music all the time. It's great. And they have music playing on Saturday mornings under the town hall as well. Yes, we have a lot of music in the town.
You mentioned an old church, a place that used to be a church, in connection with music. What was that again?
Yes, because the band now have their headquarters and the band rooms in the old Free Church
Oh,
because we had too many church buildings.
okay. So the church, when it was a church, they used to read the bands, and now the bands play in the church.
Something like that, yes.
Well,
That's a bit loose, isn't it? But yes, you
um,
missed a deal. But yes, yes, it was one of the free churches. The I can't remember what it was called now. Congregational churches. Yes,
okay, so now they congregate to play music. How fantastic.
they do. Yes, and they have, and it's big enough that in these band rooms that they have concerts. It has, obviously it's a church. They have concerts in there.
How interesting. Vanessa, you just mentioned the church. Is there, or tell us about the real church if you want, if you see what I mean. Is this a,
Yes, yes. There's a Church of England, St Michael and All Angels, which part of it was blown up in 1646 in the Civil War, but was rebuilt by the Victorians. So we have that's still a very ongoing church. There's a Catholic church as well, who meet down a place called Gas Lane.
Gas Lane?
Uh, Gas Lane, yes. I presume there was once gasworks down there.
Okay.
And and we have a Methodist church as well, which is very active in town. So we do have still a lot of religion here.
So you're all very religious. You're
No,
all very musical, and you're also very creative. Vanessa, a while ago you mentioned your rug exhibition. Tell us a little bit more about your rugs.
I make traditional hooked rugs out of old recycled fabric. So my house is full of them. It's a looped process that you make loops through Hessian, and they last for a long time as we are finding. We have them on the walls and the floors, and I've given them away to lots of people and sold some
Wow.
and taught the process.
So you're very into rugs, loop rugs made from old fabric. Does that mean every time you get fed up with the dress, you turn it into a rug and buy a new dress?
It used to, because it's jumpers more and lovely woolen jumpers. I used to look at people's jumpers and think, oh, I like that colour. But they usually wouldn't give them to me.
I wonder why. They could have had them on the wall, couldn't they?
They could have, yes. But no, I do it quite a bit. But I'm usually a bit busy making things for my grandchildren at the moment.
Okay. Um, can we just talk about women, the role of women in
Yes.
Torrington, Great Torrington? What about Women's Institute and these sort of societies?
Our Women's Institute closed last year or the year before. Most of our members were rather elderly, or not to say old. I think I was probably one of the youngest, which tells you. But we just couldn't keep it going because it's got more and more complicated. There are more and more rules and regulations.
Oh, really?
And yes, everything has to be done just so. And it got too complicated for the members who were here. They didn't want to do it.
Come on.
So we just all meet up casually now,
Oh,
every month, every day, every week for coffee instead.
which is probably more fun.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, because it got just a few people ended up doing all the work, which often happens, doesn't it?
yeah, absolutely. Um, of course, you won't be able to go to the Queen's garden party because we have no Queen anymore. Now, you would have a King's garden party, I suppose.
It doesn't sound quite the same, does it?
Uh,
But yes, yes. Oh, there has been one already, I think, but it's not likely to be our aim. We went we went to one once when Christopher got his Duke of Edinburgh's award, his gold award. We went to Buckingham Palace to a garden party.
did you have a hat on?
Um, I can't remember. I don't think I did. You don't have to wear a hat,
Okay, I can.
but Christopher had wore a suit and looked extremely smart.
I'm sure. I'm sure. It's a shame we can't have a look at his picture, but we can't, unfortunately. What do people in Torrington think about the King?
I expect, as everywhere, it's a quite mixed reception, but most of us wish him well. I think he's waited a long time, and I hope he enjoys some of it. I think it's more work than perhaps everybody thinks.
I'm sure it is. Okay. Can we come back to Torrington? Have there been any big developments in Torrington, like new housing estates, or is the character still the same as it was 40 years ago?
It's not quite the same. There are big new housing developments, but Torrington is surrounded on three sides by common land, which is because we're on an escarpment, so we go down, there's a deep, steep drop down to the river. You can't build on that side. And then there's common land round further round called Torrington Commons, surprisingly, and you can't build on that either. So it's very, very limited to where you can develop. So we're quite lucky in that respect. You just can't build on it at all.
So Torrington's going to stay the same forever, it seems. Um,
Well, more or less, because there's not many gaps. There's not many. There's where the old dairy used to be. They're hoping it had a fire about 25 years ago, and they still haven't pulled it down and redeveloped the site because it's one of these industrial sites. So you have to clear it first. It's a big, big job. But they're talking of putting houses down there, but there's not many brownfield sites that you can develop.
I understand. So for the near future, the far future, things are going to change so much. But let me ask you one thing that everybody wants to know. You talked about all of these parties and May and this and everything else. In you Torrington is in Devon, so you have Devonshire whipped cream. No, clotted cream. Could
Clotted cream.
could you tell us, please, what is clotted cream? Because nobody here knows.
Right. It's clotted cream is the milk is put, I think, it's a very thick cream with a almost like a crust on the top. So it has a golden crust on the top, and it's skimmed off milk. Full fat milk will be left in a shallow bowl, and you skim the cream off the top. You have to heat it, I think, just a little bit, and you skim this cream off the top. And it must depend on what cows you have, I think. But it is delicious. You get it in Cornwall and Devon,
Okay.
and it is, but Devon clotted cream, yes, it's a local thing. We don't eat it very often. It's rather fattening. It's for treats nowadays.
It's for treats. So life is full of treats. One more Torrington question. Um, Talking about everything else. What about schools and this kind of thing? Has Torrington got schools, or do the kids
Yes.
have to go to Barnstable?
No, Torrington has got schools. There's an infant school and a junior school, and then there's a senior school, which all Torrington children normally go to. That you can choose to send your child somewhere else, and that goes up to age 16. And then at 16, you go to college, which is in Barnstable, or I think you can go to, I don't know, yeah, Barnstable for the whole area, actually. And then if you want to go on to university, obviously you go wherever.
Okay. Vanessa, living in Torrington, how important is your garden for you?
Very important to us because I can't imagine not having outdoor space. Our garden is rather big, but since Michael retired, he likes doing it. So he does enjoy being outside. And we are lucky we have walls on our garden. So it's not overlooked by anybody. And it's 180 foot long, which is a long garden.
So,
So to us, it's very important, yes.
so your walled garden, it means Michael cannot get lost. You always know where he is.
Well, it is a long walk down the bottom. I do like him to take his phone, but he doesn't often. But yes, he can't get, well, you say that, but sometimes I can't find him, even in the garden.
Torrington sounds a really exciting place. And you said you've got enough doctors, all these kind of normal facilities that one expects. We hear
Yes,
on the news about how bad the NH is and they're going on strike and all these things. What's the reality? Are they doing their best?
they are doing their best. And we in Torrington are extremely lucky to have a practice of doctors. We can still see our doctor at any time, but it doesn't apply to most people. I don't know why we're so lucky. Maybe ours are extra efficient, but no, we have not had any problems. So I am very grateful for everything we get.
Let me ask.
Michael had to have a Michael had to have a gallbladder operation, and he only had to wait 2 weeks in Barnstable. So we were extremely lucky.
Wow. Let's come back a bit from illnesses. So everything works fine in Torrington. Um,
Yes.
the schools. Let's just talk about passing on traditions to next generations. Very, very quick question. All of the children probably learn cooking at school. Well, maybe the girls do. Does this mean they all,
No.
well, where do they all learn to make scones so that their children, where do they learn to make scones?
Do you know, I don't think they teach them that at school. The
Oh,
sort of cooking they do at school is mostly working out good diets and things like that. And they make weird things because it has to be something you can make in a set time, doesn't it? And cook
okay.
it in the same lesson time, I suppose. But I think it's up to their parents to teach them scones. But we have 3 bakers in town, and they all do excellent scones.
Brilliant. So you don't actually have to do anything. You just go and buy the best anyway.
Well, I must admit, I like homemade ones better.
Oh, right. Okay. And
Although one of the cafes in town do excellent scones. so,
so,
so that's another treat.
so life in Torrington is not only music, culture, and all these things. It's very sweet as well. Um,
It is.
super. And a very weird question, really, but do people live long in Torrington?
Well, my mother-in-law was 103,
Okay.
so and lots of people here seem to be in their 80s, 90s. So yes, I would think it's it's luck wherever you are, but it seems to be pretty good here.
And just what about the water you get in Torrington? Water that comes out your taps. Is this nice or is it?
It's better now. When we first moved here, was, we have filtered water anyway,
Okay.
but yes, it is much better now than it was. So I think we have good water. There are wells in Torington as well. So even though we're on top of a hill.
Wells in Torrington. Vanessa, what are your plans, or what are the Torrington summer plans? You having another big party or battle or something?
No, nothing this year, I don't think. There's just ordinary things going on. The library always runs something for the children. No, there's not a lot going on this summer. I think there's a book fair this week though, and there's probably an arts festival in September.
So there is a lot going on, in a way.
Well, I suppose yes, there is, yes, but some of it I do and some I don't. But there is a lot, yes. We
Understand.
have we have car boot sales every week on the commons, if that helps.
What? Just tell us very quickly, what is a car boot sale? Because no one's heard of them.
Oh, a car boot sale is when you take your car and all your stuff that you don't want and you try and sell it to other people
Oh,
on the commons. You
okay.
pay for us. You pay for a stall in inverted commas. You know, you pay to park, and then you open your car boot or whatever, and you put your table up, and you sell stuff from your table.
How fantastic. Is it very popular?
Yes, it is popular, but there's a lot of stuff you wouldn't want in your house as well.
I
But
can understand.
sometimes you find a bargain.
Okay, fine. Did you ever pick up any material there to turn into beautiful rugs?
No, I often buy books and plants though.
Books and plants, but they're very, very important. Vanessa, we've been speaking for quite a long time now. Um, let's do it again in the autumn and see what's happened in Torrington in between, since. Is that okay for you?
That would be very nice, Nigel. Yes,
Brilliant. So, Vanessa Ferry from Torrington, Great Torrington in England. Thank you very much for talking to us this morning.
my pleasure.
Thank you, and we'll speak again. Thanks once again. Bye bye for now.
Bye bye.
Bye.